The Scum Villain's Self-Saving System, Chapter 23. Audio source, wuxia-world-audiobook.com. Chapter 23. TN. Unedited. Sorry for the Cliffy Ducks. This girl's appearance was comely and elegant, though she walked with a limp. It seemed like she twisted her foot when facing off against the monsters. Her voice carried an apology as she said, "Martial Brother Luo, I'm really sorry. Earlier I was saved by you, but I still have to trouble you now. If it wasn't for the sake of protecting us, you would have long since proceeded. It's our fault for dragging you behind." Luo Bing was very sincere in his response. As fellow cultivators, taking care of each other is also a must. Towards the early stage Luo Bing's Holy Mother kind of beneficence, Shen Qingqiu had already gotten used to it and found nothing strange. He was battling creatures on one side and bringing along these weak women and children on the other, which led to his ranking not being high. Otherwise, according to his current strength, he'd have no pressure at all competing with Gong Yishao for the top. It must be known that even Ming Fan's ranking wasn't bad. But no matter, Luo Bing had a lot of reserves to make a comeback. Shen Qingqiu completely didn't think about reflecting on his own. My disciple is the strongest. If it isn't because he's such a good and generous and easy person to bully, then you'd all better not even think of competing with him. Feelings and didn't think to wonder whether there was anything strange about this attitude. Yu Qingyuan laughingly said, "Qingqiu, this small disciple of yours has a good character." Shen Qingqiu opened his fan and smiled peacefully, secure of himself. Whether it was from the reader's perspective or Shizun's perspective, the early stage Luo Bing's White Lotus level 1 indeed met the standard. Qi Chengqi snorted. Since he's like that, it's like he didn't come from his tutelage. There were bystanders who also passed along words of praise. However, they might not be sincere. What use was there in having a good heart? What the Immortal Alliance Conference paid attention to was strength. In their eyes, Luo Bing's move was somewhat stubbornly pedantic. The Huanhua Palace sect had elders sitting next to Shen Qingqiu. Upon seeing Luo Bing's face in the crystal screen, inadvertently let out of Yi. 2. Shen Qingqiu's gaze didn't stray sideways, but in his heart, he secretly laughed. Luo Bing's appearance is handsome, resembling his birth mother. Certainly, this old sect head must see this face and think he coincidentally looks like a certain younger generation person, missing his own proud disciple of that time and sighing a little. As everyone knew, Luo Bing was truly the child of his beloved disciple. And on the other side, inside Judy Gorge, Luo Bing was already thinking in his mind about a safe way to solve the problem and get rid of the current situation. Morally speaking, he couldn't throw away these Huanhua Palace disciples who hadn't entered the sect for long. But he also didn't want to let slip the opportunity to put on an excellent performance at the Immortal Alliance Conference and not let Shizun be disappointed. On this side, Luo Bing was coolly pondering how to settle down these small and weak disciples while Shen Qingqiu actually thought he was rubbing sparks with a sister. This was the first sister who rolled in the sheets with Luo Bing. Qinhuan Yue. 3. Shen Qingqiu's impression of this sister wasn't bad. Though she wasn't much help to the protagonist's undertaking of killing and dominating the three realms, she was a warm and gentle person who didn't like infighting in the harem. What man wouldn't like such a sister? Shen Qingqiu wouldn't say. Shahuling and Luo Bing's main wife living together all the day, contending for his affections and scheming, harming this person and framing another. He'd seen enough, several tens of chapters of these kinds of scenes to annoy him to death. Shua, and he directly turned the pages over. The labor of reading was meant for a supernatural novel, not a pretty woman's biography. I'd rather watch you spend 100,000 words to describe how the ghost-headed spider is bred than watch how Shahuling made Qin Huanyue have a miscarriage. Thank you. These people solemnly treated Luo Bing as their savior, following behind him. Luo Bing was helpless, but was unable to be cold and chase them away. Shen Qingqiu's heart was very happy. The Luobing right now was warm and honest but not easy to fool. Among these closely following disciples in rank and file, some at this moment were not suited for battle since their developmental conditions weren't good. At the least, after some adjustment, there would be no problem. But there were also some who had neither learning nor skill, yet were unwilling to withdraw from the competition. They wanted to hug onto Luobing's thighs to muddle along and win some beads and prestige. If it were the late stage Luobing, you could die at his hands any second and he wouldn't hesitate. 4. After walking for a while, the small monsters that came during the night were mostly resolved just by Luobing moving a finger. His sword didn't even need to leave its scabbard. Still, people were unable to pick up speed. The reason? A Huanhua Palace female disciple close to Qin Huanyue started crying loudly, "Big sister Huanyue, my feet hurt so much." At the front, Luobing didn't turn around but his feet stopped. His head lowered and he massaged his temples. Qin Huanyue was suddenly anxious. She lowered her head and quietly said to that young girl, "Little sister Huanrong, can you please endure? We need to walk a little faster." Little sister Huanrong quietly sobbed, "But my feet truly hurt and I can't walk anymore. And we walked an entire day without a place to bathe. My body feels so uncomfortable." In the team, many were unseasoned disciples even if they claimed otherwise. If Shen Qingqiu had the privilege to pass judgment directly, he would have long since invalidated their qualifications to enter the conference and kicked them out of Judy Gorge. If they cried so easily about their feet hurting, then why did they register for something like the Immortal Alliance Conference? Registration could be forgiven, but why did they have drag people behind? Look at Lu Mengan. This gap wasn't just a little bit. No wonder she was the #1 female lead. However, he had no way to deal with this Qin Huanrong. After all, Qin Huanyue and Qin Huanrong, this pair of sisters, were flowers in Luobing's harem. They would be the only ones who wouldn't die even if they died a big death. A strange sense of irritation filled Shen Qingqiu's heart. Bing ate you. In the future when you start accepting your harem, could you also consider the problem of quality? Don't just see that a sister doesn't look bad and take her into your arms. Seeing the quality of your harem so uneven really brings heartache. Qin Huanyue took another look at Luobing's back then whispered, "Little sister, we've already given senior martial brother Luo so much trouble." Qin Huanrong innocently said, "Senior martial brother Luo is such a good person that he won't mind. Isn't that right, martial brother Luo?" Luobing finally turned around. There was still a little smile on his face, handsome without friendliness, unassailably flawless. He didn't speak. Qin Huanyue didn't know why, but she secretly shivered. But Qin Huanrong had cotton for brains. Seeing him smile, she took it as his agreement. La la la, like a sudden breeze, she dashed to a little river bend nearby. It came. Shen Qingqiu's gaze was filled with urgency. Luobing was shocked. Connecting with her words earlier, he thought she was going to bathe. Fortunately, this junior martial sister wasn't an exotic flower 5 to that level. She just shucked off her shoes and socks, her feet stepping like in the river water. This was the upper reaches of the river. What if someone downriver wanted to drink water? Shen Qingqiu secretly lit a candle in his heart for the disciples downriver. Having led the way like this, many other people followed her example. A group of people just like this began to laugh and make merry. Luobing, seeing the situation, couldn't do anything about it and also couldn't draw near. He could only say from far away, "Wading into the water is not safe. It's still better for fellow martial brothers and sisters to quickly come up." Shen Qingqiu felt it was a little strange. In the original work, Luobing shouldn't have stood so far away. He shouldn't be wrong. Luobing should have let go of his worries. Or it came from Great God Airplane towards the sky's unkillable secret desires, going with them to the rivulet and then enjoying an erotic footbath scene. The same kind of service that was given just before. The happy laughter and cheers of those people even traveled over to this side. It's okay. Martial brother Luo, you come too. Even the sect leaders in front of the crystal screens were speechless. Though he was given an immunity shot in the form of the original work, when this scene actually happened in front of his eyes, Xiāng Tóngxiù was also drunk with disbelief. With an expressionless face, he asked in his heart, Luo Bing, you still aren't going to go over? If you still don't go over, you won't be able to catch the scene in time. Qin Huanyue wanted to conscientiously apologize to Luo Bing. Senior martial brother Luo, I'm sorry. My junior apprentice sister and them, it's their first time participating in the Immortal Alliance conference. Quote, she knew her own family's little sister was behaving like quite an exotic flower. She bit her lips, looking very pitiable. Luo Bing hadn't responded yet when suddenly, ear-piercing and sharp screams rose from beside the rivulet. Oh, it's finally come. Young people, don't forget the number one cool point among the cool points of proud immortal demon way. Those who are going to be made dead will definitely die. Only this time, Xiāng Tóngxiù would have never expected that the Qin Huanrong little sister who became part of the protagonist's harem would make herself WuxiaWorldAudio.com dead like this. Hearing sharp screams, Luo Bing's expression changed. He left behind the flower-like Qin Huanyue, dashing over to the riverside. At the same time, the faces of the sect leaders who were in front of the crystal screens were also horrified. Luo Bing held his sword out horizontally in front of him, lowering his body in a guard position as he said, what's going on? The river originally held 5 to 6 disciples who were leisurely bathing their feet, but now 2 had disappeared. One of them included Qin Huanrong. Xiāng Tóngxiù in his heart, you see. Didn't I tell you to go there earlier? It's great now, your first wife is gone just like that. You prodigal son. The big scene of the future 3-6 with the flower bouquet of the 2 Qin sisters, how's that going to be done now? A disciple shrilly screamed, just earlier, I don't know what happened. Suddenly the depths of the water turned black and Martial's sister and them were somehow sucked into the water. With one hand, Luo Bing pulled up some people who were still floating in the water, stunned. It was better to get them out of danger before anything else. But just when he reached out his hand to pull the last person out, that person's feet slipped and the person fell. Their head hadn't even gone completely under the river water when they disappeared right in front of Luo Bing. At the same time, a dark energy churned in the middle of the river water, separating the crystal screen out from the others and focusing. Xiāng Tóngxiù saw a woman's countless black hairs just like black silk threads. In the midst of the black silk threads emerged fresh scarlet blood. It had been diluted by the flow of river water, but the thick growth was even more disgusting than Sadako's hair. Shocked, Yu Qingyuan exclaimed, Nuan Chan. 7. And inside Judi Gorge, Luo Bing quickly determined what kind of creature was in the river water. His sword energy entered the water and he shouted, move away from the water. It's a demon realm. Nu Yuan Chan. That demon, like a large tract of hair strands, stirred under the water for a while, then suddenly erupted into a burst of hiccups. With a Gu-Lulu sound, it spit out something from the midst of the black strands. The 3 had already been sucked dry of blood and flesh, leaving only skinny wet corpses made of skin and bone. The pores on the corpses appeared unusually large because there were still quite a lot of hairs attached to the skin, inserted through the pores hungrily to draw human flesh, blood, and vital energy. The ability to get in through any opening was the most frightening specialty of the new Yuan Chan. The disciples by the river were so terrified by the horrific scene that they seemed to have been scared dumb. From the forest, a wailing cry came as someone threw themselves over almost to Luo Bing's back. Qin Huanyue almost fainted after seeing her little sister's corpse in such a miserable state. Fortunately, she was very smart and hadn't been actually shocked into fainting. Otherwise, in this kind of scene full of chaos and turmoil, who could actually bring her along with them as they ran away? End chapter 23. 1. White lotus. This is a Chinese term, usually for women lol, that's traditionally used to describe someone who's pure and innocent and absolutely good. So, white lotus level is referring to just how much of a white lotus Luo Bing is. For those curious, the modern meaning of the same white lotus term may be used to refer to a two-faced bitch, you know, the kind that looks good but has the moral integrity of a pile of trash. This story doesn't use the modern meaning though, so when I use white lotus in translation, we're talking about the traditional meaning of cute white bun. 2. Yi, a sound someone can make when surprised after seeing something. Sort of SFX, I guess. 3. Qin Wan Yue, Wan meaning gentle, beautiful, elegant, Yu meaning, well, it can mean something like agreement as a noun. The name of her sister, Wan Rong, has a similar meaning. 4. Die at his hands any second, some pinyin mixed in here. Might be slang. Original Chinese was Neng. 5. Exotic flower, meaning she's not a marvel in the sarcastic sense to that level. In ancient times, a woman revealing her feet to the opposite sex is considered not done even if it's not as bad as stripping naked. This is why Luo Bing is standing so far away despite it only being a scene of pretty sisters having a footbath. He's being a gentleman. FYI, among cultivators and Jianghu people, propriety is more lax, which explains why some martial brothers are mixed in with the sisters. 6.3. Beep. This is a censored version of the term 3P. 3P, three-party threesome. Future Luo Bing has a threesome with these sisters. At least in the original work. Lol. 7. Nuan Chan wasn't sure how to translate this. It's a kind of supernatural monster. Direct translation of name is something like female resentment in rapping, so I guess I could have called it in rapping female resentment. But then it sounds less like an actual monster lol. If someone feels strongly about this one way or another, drop a comment. Tian. Bing, your mind truly is filled with nothing but shizun. Even when there's a hot sister right next to you, you're still thinking about him. Also, Rip Chin Wan Rong clasps hands together and prays. End chapter.